Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy May. It's my favorite month because I was born this month. Today, I'm talking to our good friend, Mac Music Review, for the very last episode, unfortunately, of Consecrated Media. This is going to be a long one. We're talking about The Narrative by Sho Baraka, one of the best Christian rap albums. We do a bit of a track-by-track breakdown. There will be a lot to process, a lot we talk about, but it's one of my favorite episodes so far. So, everybody, just sit back, relax, enjoy. If you're in a car, put your seatbelt on. Here's the news. We're going at breakneck speed. My track of the week is going to be Tears in the Rain by Half Alive, which is part of their Persona Deluxe album. This is just a really solid indie track with some cool instrumentation. We actually got to hear this one debuted live in Atlanta, so little personal connection to that. Other music came from Tennis, Stereolab, Turnstile, Sparks, Jess Ray, JPEG Mafia, Car Seat Headrest. Not many Christian artists besides Jess Ray, who did a cover of Abide With Me that is also quite pretty. In other news, Donald Trump says 100% tariff on movies made in foreign lands. The movie Sinners, doing very well. On another note, the movie King of Kings doing very well. It beat Parasite as the highest grossing Korean film, which is very interesting. The Marvel movie Thunderbolts is doing well, has been received very well critically, and there was also the Met Gala or something or other this week. So, there you go. That's the news. Hope you guys enjoy. Again, if you are driving in a car, put your seatbelt on. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to unfortunately, the very last episode of Consecrated Media. I hate to do this to you, to me, to everyone, but I spoke about it a little bit in the last episode that there's really feasibly not any way that I can keep doing this over the summer, and I have covered almost all my bases, except rap, which is why I am here today with my guest from the very first episode. It's a chiasmic structure, if you will.
I don't actually know what that means.
It's from the Bible, where it's like the 3, 2, 1, 2, 3
Okay.
of different like phrases. Like it's used in Psalms and stuff a lot. Anyway, I've got my good friend Josiah here, and we're going to be talking about one of his favorite albums. He knows it so much better than me, but I love it. Like I would say it's probably my favorite Christian rap album. I can't think of anything that would compare. But this is The Narrative by Sho Baraka. So,
Yes.
Josiah, before we get into it, welcome.
Oh yeah, I am so happy to be back. I'm also extremely. It is very saddening to hear that the podcast is ending because I've enjoyed, and I will say this on the podcast.
Well,
I was featured as a guest, but I also have listened to every episode of the podcast.
You've been a dedicated follower.
I'm a huge fan of the podcast. I've really enjoyed it. I think there've been so many insightful conversations, especially recommendations.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard, I think, a single album all the way through that was recommended until I listened to the podcast. And
hey, that's
Cool Hand Luke, Idle Threat.
Yeah.
I still haven't listened to the Aretha Franklin album, but I would like to.
The Aretha Franklin one's interesting because that was like...
It's just so far out of my wheelhouse, I guess.
That's
my
also...
music I listen to.
I kind of wanted that episode to be I've given all my guests their albums to choose. Now I'm going to talk about my album to choose.
If I was a guest on my own podcast, this is my album.
Because that's not something that anyone our age is really listening to.
It's true.
Aretha Franklin's like a legend of the music world, you know, but she's a lot of people know her in name and haven't listened to that much of her music besides like her big hit songs. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about her. It's like, yeah, I also should say Josiah and I were at a fantastic concert last night. It was not Consecrated Media per se. It was,
This is what I was gonna say. It's probably not.
It was an LCD Sound System concert, and we're both still pretty tired. So if we stumble over our words or say anything that makes no sense at all, blame it on the power of music and community.
Wow. That's incredible.
Palpable words.
That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I'm wondering, how do we introduce this album?
Well, I was gonna ask you if there's any way you would, because this has been one of your favorite albums for a really long time.
Yeah.
So let's just say this album came out in 2016. Mm-hmm. One thing I will say, not like you should view this album this way, just as a point of entry for rap fans who are Christians. This album does take a lot of cues from To Pimp a Butterfly. Mm-hmm. I won't say that it's like a ripoff because it's so deep in its own way and it's so insightful in its own way, but it covers a lot of the same material, a lot of similar influences. That's one thing I'll say. And it came out a year or so, maybe a little less than a year after To Pimp a Butterfly in 2016.
I used to be a huge fan of Christian rap, and I discovered Sho Baraka through his features with Lecrae. Because Sho used to be on Reach Records, which I don't know if you're aware, or if you listening to this are aware of the big record labels in Christian rap. The biggest one is Reach Records, and Lecrae is the owner of the label.
Okay.
There's been so much drama with Reach Records, and so many people leaving, and people coming on, and people getting kicked off, and there's just been so much going on. And for the last, I think the first 2 or 3 Sho Baraka albums were with Reach, and then he left and did his own thing, and made music that was not trying to appeal to the mainstream. It was very much him making extremely mature, I would say, lyrically, and also just idea-wise, starting with Talented Tenth. And this was the follow-up to Talented Tenth, and an album that may not be as shocking in the content matter because, and we're not going to get it, we're not talking about Talented Tenth, but the narrative, I see this as Sho Baraka's magnum opus. I don't think that anything he made in the past has aged as well as this. I think to this day, the production sounds great. I'm wondering, I mean, how do you think this album sounds today?
It sounds awesome.
I agree.
I think it takes a lot of cues from, not like old school hip-hop, but like older, like the entire time I was listening to this, I was just thinking Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he references her and Miseducation like 3 or 4 times throughout the album also, but...
A lot of name drops and references to older things. As you will see, I guess we're going to get into this.
We'll talk about it, but also like Lauryn Hill, I think every good Christian rap album I've heard has been very heavily influenced by Lauryn Hill, because she was like...
Interesting.
That album is just fundamental. I think where To Pimp a Butterfly is more like organic jazz, this takes a lot of influences from older like doo-wop and some funk, but it also jumps around with a lot of different years of years and eras of music and history.
You will be fascinated to learn, if you want to check out this album, that after the title of every single song there is a year.
Yes, and I have a breakdown.
Which is fantastic, because I did not know the meaning. I knew some of what these years were alluding to. It usually is a reference to something in history or something personal within Sho Baraka's life, and I wish I knew his actual name. We're just going to keep referring to him as Sho Baraka, I guess.
I didn't know it wasn't his name.
Oh, maybe it is, but I assumed it was his rapper name.
Yeah, that would check out. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the album, I do want to ask you, is this your favorite Christian rap album?
It's hard, because Crooked by Propaganda, are you aware of that album?
Yeah.
That album has grown on me a lot, and I really liked it the first time I heard it, but now, as I'm coming back to it, I think that album, I've been peeling back more layers. And it's like this album, it's very deep and complex lyrically speaking. This album has several songs which I would call fun, borderline goofy. There are goofy, like fun-loving moments. And Crooked is pretty relentless in its darkness and how it dissects cynicism in America and politics and problems facing the church and things and racism and some similar subject matter to this album. It might be Crooked by Propaganda.
Well,
and this is worth noting, that album, in addition to the narrative, were released on Humble Beast Records.
Yeah, which he does reference on this album too.
Yes, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So basically, strong contender.
It's either number 1 or number 2.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Now, I will say, it's my favorite Christian rap album.
Okay.
But I am ruefully unaware of Christian rap. Like, it's been such a blind spot in my life. I've been meaning to listen to more. I know the basics, but I really...
A lot of it today, I don't know how much I should say, but a lot of it today sounds very corny.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
We're leaning towards making it sound as much like trap music as possible.
Yeah.
The good stuff, if you want to find good Christian rap, look at Humble Beast artists and records, because this is the most creatively fulfilling music that you can listen to in Christian rap.
Like Sho Baraka says on Road to Humble, if I wanted to listen to Drake, I would listen to Drake.
That's a good point. That's a good commentary on Christian rap today.
Precisely, yeah.
Drake and Kendrick are mentioned on the album.
Drake, Kendrick, and Kanye. This is 2016, so you got to bear in mind all very different career paths now. Kendrick is still, of those three, far and away the most...
the Kendrick verses have aged well.
Yeah, I will not fill anyone in on
But
Kanye
there is actually an entire song on the album called Kanye.
Yeah.
Which
I think, let's do some track by track
stuff. I know, we're jumping around a little bit, because there's a million, the danger with this album is this has the potential to be a long episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's something you could say, I mean, there's songs you could talk about at length, especially in the back half of the record.
Yeah,
but
it's very complex.
It's very complex. There's a lot going on.
And one of the first notes I took today preparing for this was just, there is not a moment on this album, even the fun moments, like, there's nothing that isn't substantive here. Like, everything is intentional, and it's very, very thought-provoking. Even when it's, like, fun, it's
still saying something.
If it's a song about, like, oh yeah, I'm at the club, I see a girl who's looking mighty fine.
And there are songs like that on this album.
There's one or two, but then you think about that as in, oh, he made this song and it's fun. Why is it 1959? Why is that the year? Like, what's the significance of all these things? Or is this about his wife? Is this, like, trying to combat something in culture? Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. It's all a very unique perspective.
And the answer, by the way, is yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's always about his wife. But I will also preface this by saying, Josiah and I are both very white men. This album addresses some very...
you blew my cover, dude.
I'm sorry. I know no one thought so, but I gotta put that out there. But this album, we're not 100% qualified to talk about everything he addresses here.
I fully agree.
It's a very, very intense politically, or not politically, but culturally, just addresses a lot of deep stuff that is out of our depth.
I personally will not dive too deep into some of the issues that I guess I would not be qualified to talk about, because I'm not the most politically informed person, and also, like you stated earlier, we're not necessarily the most qualified people to get into it.
I will also say we are a lot younger than Sho Baraka, and like we were around when the stuff he addresses happened, but like we were not present and conscious adults when this was going on, and it's
I want to say, even though so much of this album is rooted in the past, it is also very much looking ahead.
Oh yeah.
And specifically with the political commentary, so much of it is eerily relevant today. When I listen to this, I think of events that happened in 2020 and 2021 in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
When I listen to this, and like, oh wait, the album came out 5 years before 2020 or all this other, modern day things have been going on, so...
Yeah. We probably won't get super in-depth, but there will be some...
explicit parental advisory.
Super explicit. But it will get a little serious, I'm sure, so...
It will, especially if we're going in order as we get closer to the end. The conversation may drift towards the profound or the serious nature.
Yes. I don't know. The somber aspects of living in this world today.
That's a good word.
Yeah. I will also say, depending where the conversation goes, it might benefit you to listen to the album first so that you have an idea what we're talking about. Because this is just going to be like, a lot of this will probably be a breakdown of the album.
As we prepped for this episode, we were diving a little bit deeper, I think, especially deeper than we did in the first episode that I recorded with you, Bradley, which was John Guerra's Keeper of Days.
Yeah.
I think we were intentionally doing research, I dare say.
Yeah, no, I have
this album.
I have dates in this book. It's my history notebook too. So
I think we should just get into it.
Yeah,
there's a lot to.
Let's go ahead. We've beat around the bush. Well, let's just get into it. The meat of the album.
Yes.
So the first song is Forward, 1619. Any initial thoughts about this? Not just the depths of it, but just the way it sounds, the way he flows.
The tone of the song. It's very welcoming.
Yeah.
It just starts with this nice little piano, and you just get into it, and he just moves at a very calm, slow pace with and it's still rapping, and there's another thing I should say, it is kind of a talk rapping style. Does that sound fair as a way to describe it? Because it almost just sounds like, and I don't know what's a rapper we can compare that to.
Okay, you might not agree with this, or you might not even know his music as well. For some reason, I was thinking Lupe Fiasco. When I listen to this album, like just his tone and certain things he does, like,
very clearly like enunciating every word,
and very technical but still charismatic about it. Like
I think that's.
And I love Lupe Fiasco, so that's a compliment for sure. A couple notes here. So first of all, Forward is spelled Foreward, which is a combination of the two forward words.
That's interesting.
Is known as a portmanteau. So this is Forward 1619. Of note, 1619 is the start of slavery in the U.S. at Jamestown, so that basically is kind of setting a tone for what we'll be getting into on the album, and I love the flow of this song. It's just, like, I think if there's one that I'll return to just casually...
there's another one later on that
there's a
works
few.
very
It's
well.
a very fun album on some parts, but it's... this song reminded me a lot of The Bird by Anderson .Paak, which is also an opener on Malibu, but this is one of my favorites.
I wanted to say, the album is called The Narrative, and the opening part of the song is, "Don't close the book, I got more to write."
That's right.
You can change the story, this is my advice, I read in color, they see black and white. You just saw the cover, but there's more to life. And then he gets into, literally narrating parts of his life and talking personally information about himself. So... it's honestly, as it says forward, like a forward to a book. Mm-hmm. You're seeing the opening of the book and then the author saying, okay, this is what this story is going to be about. And so we know that we're getting a bit of an autobiographical kind of lens right from the get-go.
Yeah, this album can be very confessional. It does address a lot of like greater societal issues, but it does that by being very personal and talking about his story.
Which is the best way, I think, to communicate anything, it's to relate things to yourself and make it real.
With rap and just good songwriting, like, again, very similar to Kendrick Lamar, like, in terms of how he dives into culture. Next song is Soul, 1971. I will say this is probably the one I have the least to say about. This is just a fun one.
I was going to say the same thing. It's a fun, jazzy track. I know there's going to be... Funky. I don't know if jazzy's the best word, because you said To Pimp a Butterfly is like jazz.
Yeah, because that one literally has like arrangements by people like Kamasi Washington and features Thundercat and people who are like actual jazz musicians. This one does, but I think it's much more... I would call it a little funkier, although there's jazz trap on this album.
there is explicitly stated jazz trap.
Yeah, but bottom line is, it's music that's got soul, and this song is called Soul.
It's
so
short.
That's cool.
The song doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
I don't think this song has that much to say.
No, it's
I'm glad it's on the track list. It's very fun.
But
that's what I'll say.
That's okay though, because it works and it's a good tone setter.
It is, especially coming this early on in the album. You know, we started kind of slow and then we pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we move on into the next track.
So yeah, this is one of the ones that's probably one of the more complex songs on the album.
I agree.
This is the Kanye Rant, 2009 specifically, which for those of you who don't already know, Kanye did his Taylor Swift "I'ma Let You Finish" in 2009. So I assume that was why it was named 2009. I don't have definitive sources for all of these, but some of them are a little more obvious than others. But what do we have to say about the Kanye Rant?
It's a moment for Sho Baraka to kind of talk about social justice, talk about social injustice as well, and in regards to racism and protests. And it's a topic that I believe this is the first place he really kind of gets into it. Yeah. And he will dive much, much deeper and much darker into the topic as the album progresses. Yeah. But this is kind of almost a fun way to introduce the social... Is social commentary a good term for it, or is there a better way to say that?
That's pretty much what it is. It's also... This is definitely a highlight for me lyrically, because he's taking, like, one of my favorite words. It's very multifaceted. He's taking a lot of different approaches to addressing it, because I think part of it is him talking about, like something that Kanye does address in songs like Diamonds from Sierra Leone and New Slaves, where it's like black people or just people of color in America have been kind of institutionalized to want wealth, and that's its own form of slavery. That's one of Kanye's big themes, and in this song, Sho hits on that, but he also kind of plays this character of like, oh, I'll have my opinion and I'll express it on this song, but God forgive me because I'll change it next week, which is it's a very Kanye thing to do. And I hate to address Kanye at this point in time, but that's that.
Unfortunately, you have to in regards to this song, because the whole setup for the song, the hook and the whole idea is him framing it almost ironically as a Kanye rant. Yeah. Where he's going to say things that sound like they contradict each other. Some things that are true and then some things that are exaggerated. Or that can come across as humorous. And the song is tongue-in-cheek. It is a song that wants to have fun, and I think the production definitely assists with that, and especially that hook. Oh, I think it's very, very... almost a little bit too catchy, because back when I was a huge fan of this album, I was like always playing this in my head.
This one is really fun.
It's a very, very fun track.
It kind of functions as a song lyrically in the style of Kanye, but also it's kind of
I definitely see
like
that.
criticizing Kanye in his own way, calling him hypocritical, which is true, and it's very.
But we don't have to get into that.
Yeah, anything addressing him nowadays is very. You gotta remove everything that's happened over the past couple of years with 2016 Kanye.
This is just kind of it's kind of just an unfortunate coincidence that the song is so relevant now.
Yeah.
But also almost, I don't know, it's a little unfortunate that has to be brought up. But.
Yeah. Well, anyway, next song.
Next song is Love, 1959.
Yeah. Now, this is the only one where I was like, I have no idea why it's 1959.
I was going to ask you about the year.
My theory was that maybe it's something about his parents or someone in his past who met in 1959, maybe.
Yeah.
Or who got married then. But this is a love song, and it samples...
Yeah, and he says the name of the song that he's sampling.
Yeah, and that song is If It Wasn't for Love by Jimmy B, I think. We listened to it, and he's basically flipping this using the hook, and it sounds awesome.
It does. And this is also, I'm going to say, one of my least favorite tracks on the album.
Yeah,
and I love the album, so once again, I'm not dissing the song.
Yeah, it's not a weak song.
But it is a love song, and it does lean towards slightly goofy, I would say, in its happiness.
That's fair.
Or in its energy. It can almost come across as, and especially his performance as well, I would say, it comes across as a little bit playful, I'll say.
Yeah.
A little bit playful, especially with the instrumental as well. And when I listen to a love song, I really just look for something tender and kind of feels really sincere.
Well, it's funky.
It is.
I don't know.
It is.
You hear the song and you're like, oh, it's a fun song about like meeting who probably would be his wife. But then you look at it and you're like, 1959. What does this have to do with 1959? Because the song he samples was released in 66. So that makes me think there might be a little more to this song. There's some clue that we don't have. Who knows? But if anyone has any insights, feel free to let us know. Although I'd be kind of surprised.
I would be surprised as well, but I would love that.
Yeah. Anyway, then next up is it's like far and away the most popular song on the album, which is Here, 2016, featuring Lecrae. Josiah and I both immediately concurred that this is the Christian version of All Right by Kendrick Lamar.
I think it's almost impossible to not make the comparison.
Yeah.
Which sounds very reductive.
No, but it's awesome.
It's awesome. It's awesome... It's triumphant in what it's going for. It tackles a bunch of different topics lyrically.
Which are similar to what All Right tackles also.
Yeah, that's true.
One could argue that All Right is the Christian version of All Right, actually. But this is the Christian version of All Right without the words that we can't say here.
Yes. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it is reductive to go, but whatever.
Yeah. No shade.
No, there's no shade. We love this song. We both love this song.
No, this is one of the best songs on the album, and one of the absolute highlights of the album for me is Lecrae's verse on this song.
I mean, just the energy is 100% there.
It's the best thing he's ever done, right? I don't think he's
Lecrae
topped this.
almost never sounds this good.
No,
he is really spitting on this song.
Yeah, no, it's
and it's fun. Like you get excited when he starts going.
It's an awesome song, and I mean Lecrae is pretty much the most popular Christian rapper, right?
In terms of the name.
Well, okay.
Besides NF.
I was about to say, are we considering NF a rapper? He's definitely a rapper, but I mean, like hip hop, like true rap. Within the culture.
NF has transcended. NF is beyond that.
Let me put it this
Lecrae,
way.
I would say, is the biggest in the field.
Let me put it this way: NF fans and rap fans do not overlap very much.
Okay, you need to stop with the NF glaze is too much, bro.
Anyway.
You've got some NF fans listening right now.
I apologize to my roommate who loves NF.
That's what I'm saying.
Wears an NF sweatshirt every day.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
This is one of the best Christian rap songs ever, though.
I fully agree.
It's fantastic. It feels so joyous and
every lyric, there's so many lines in the chorus, and everything is this beautiful, transcendent, like fist pump.
Yeah.
And you feel it every time. Like he says it with conviction, and the music is carrying these words, and it makes you feel like yes. Like when he says, "I'm here for the love."
God got us, then we gonna be all right.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's also in the context of a lot of social racism and just that's kind of what this provides. So, yeah, I will also say that like. Being very delicate and deliberate with my words here.
That's a good move.
A lot of my friends have very strong opinions about these sorts of things, not all of which I agree with. And I will say, this is a fantastic album for you to check out, whether you are strongly for or strongly against certain movements.
I'm glad you're saying. I'm glad you're saying this. I think that's worth saying.
This is an extremely nuanced approach to it. And he will address things like he'll be for things, he'll be against things. I think this provides a fantastic Christian perspective that I like on initial listens, and from what I've dissected within this album, I would say I align with quite a lot. I don't want to get political at all, but I mean this album will address it, and
I think it's worth mentioning.
A lot of people I know will either love that or hate it, but it's still worth checking out, worth thinking about what he's saying here. This song and Forward are both the two that have addressed it thus far, I would say.
Okay.
Are we going to move on to the next
song? I'm ready.
All right. 30 and Up. I would say this is the best of the like fun songs on the album.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't actually know how you felt about this before we started recording. This was definitely this used to be one of my like top 5 songs on the album.
And this one is 1986.
1986.
Because that was 30 years before the song came out.
Before the release of the album.
Yes.
Yes. It features Courtney Orlando. I don't know if you're aware of who
I did not know that. I didn't even...
neither am I.
Fault of mine, yeah.
I'm not either. But this song, I would say, is jazzy.
This is jazzy.
I would say it's jazzy. It's
very cool.
It's got horns. It's got energy. It's just a really, really fun song that is celebrating, and this is rare from a Christian perspective, celebrating being an adult. That means dancing with a woman. That means
who you're married to. Who you're
married to. Drinking alcohol.
But not drunk, he says.
Putting the kids to bed.
He says... Putting the kids to bed, drinking alcohol, far from drunk.
Far from drunk.
Gotta clarify. Gotta clarify. I would never insinuate drunkenness.
He talks about having adult conversations, and he says these in a positive light.
Because that's what healthy Christian marriages... Well, you don't have to drink, but healthy marriages...
brother.
Heck yeah, dude. In reading about this, there's... I mean, this was just from a Genius annotation, but this is what he said about the song, that it is... He sees a lot of ageism in hip-hop in that it really tries to appeal to young people exclusively, which is not something I'd ever thought about before coming across that, really.
I believe that's true.
But, like, it's 100% true. Like, I don't think many people after... I mean, for some people once you get out of college, but other people are just like... If you have a family and stuff, you're not going to be out here listening to most modern hip-hop, and it's cool that he's making things like that. And yeah, good thought-provoking hip-hop and classic hip-hop are different, I would say, but... This is awesome. This is awesome that it addresses that. And then after 30 and Up is when the album starts to get a little serious and powerful. Provocative.
The album really does feel like it splits here.
Yeah, you don't own this one, do you?
I own a physical copy of
Do you own the record?
Album. I have the CD.
Okay.
And I'm glad you mentioned it. And we're going to get into it more, but there are 3 songs that are not on the CD that are on the digital version that I believe make the album significantly weaker, not including them. Maybe Both is not included on the CD.
That's crazy. Yeah. I was going to say, I would imagine either Prophet or maybe Both is where if you had a record, that would be when you flip the record.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why you were asking.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, it shifts here. It's still... The album flows so well either way you approach it. But
I believe so, yeah.
That would make sense. But anyway, so Prophet, 1968... From my best deductions, I assume 1968 refers to MLK's assassination, specifically just because of the content of the song. Yeah, this is a really heavy one, I would say. One of the more heavy ones on the album. It's
just instrumentally too. It has a very dark edge to it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of anger. There's something going on beneath the surface, and especially in this hook.
Yeah, this one is also very To Pimp a Butterfly-esque. Like, he literally... Yeah. It's about just being taken advantage of in the industry specifically, and not just the industry, just kind of selling your soul and addressing that.
It's about fighting against this materialism that comes with being in the rap industry. Mm-hmm. It's people want to use you as a product, and you fighting against that is what he is specifically talking about. I like a lyric early in the song. I fight the power, but they want me to dance. I do the right thing because I ain't Rosie Perez.
Mm.
If you know, you know.
That's so true.
We're both laughing because I did not know until Bradley told me what this is referencing.
Explain the situation. There's a lot of really, I mean, bars, hot lines, and then I guess we should just maybe both like. I think of this as kind of the album's thesis in terms of what he's trying to address and his opinions, perhaps.
I think this is the most dense song lyrically.
Definitely.
I think this is the one you could spend the most amount of time breaking down each individual line. What is he meaning? What is he suggesting? What shots are being fired specifically? Because he's going after every political party, everyone that claims one thing, and he's just calling out hypocrites and saying, how are we supposed to function in a world that is so broken? Essentially, that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Broken politically, broken in terms of violence. Those are the two main things he's talking about, is politics and physical violence, and I would say racial injustice. And and this is a little bit random, but as he starts the second verse, and the instrumental for this song is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you hear this dark, spooky. Spooky sounds like a light word.
It is spooky.
But it's like unsettling, I'll say, unnerving vocal sample.
It's eerie.
Eerie, that's the word I was looking for. There's an eerie vocal sample, and it has a very dark edge, and he sounds angry on this song.
Yeah.
More so than on Prophet. Once again, it reminds me a lot of Kendrick. A song like You, or a song like Blacker the Berry. It reminds me of that kind of, I have something important to say and I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
And there's a part, and what really shows me how he's serious, and I just love this, when he starts the second verse, he says, "Why stop now? I haven't caught the Holy Ghost yet."
Oh, it's, yeah.
And then he keeps going, and I'm like, every time I hear that, I'm like, chills. Like, that's so cool. Like, and then it just keeps going, and...
That's my favorite verse on the album, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable.
A lot. There's a lot going on in that verse, in the second verse of the song.
And it's like, also, I apologize if we're being like very, well, no, I don't apologize, that's the point, but
we're
being very nerdy, very in-depth, and very verbose about all this, but like, this
don't
is so complex.
Don't apologize for that, though. It's worth it. The album deserves it.
Yeah, and if we wanted, this is an album you could break down bar for bar, like do specific episodes on just sections of the album.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack here. It's fantastic. But yeah, but also just the production is so good. Like we also both heard there's a section where he talks about you hear the moaning of a slave.
You put the dollar to your ear and you hear the moaning of a slave.
Yeah, and then you hear this very weird vocal that's just like very unsettling, and it's supposed to sound like that. And then also one thing I noticed, which when I first listened to this, I my ear slightly picked it up, and then when we revisited, I like doubled down and confirmed it. But this song samples the ending string section from "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye, which is just
so interesting.
Well, very similar approach of "What's Going On" is picket lines, picket signs, don't punish me with brutality.
Yeah.
And that's also reminds me of Here 2016 of Love Over Hate, and that's...
I'm here for that.
You know, that's a great message in itself, and then knowing you take that and you say, the reason I choose Love Over Hate is because of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. That's powerful,
we should say...
I love that sample. Just
It does the Blacker the Berry thing, and I apologize. We really need to apologize if anyone doesn't know To Pimp a Butterfly, because it's so hard to talk about this album without comparing, because there are things that he does things that he does well that Kendrick does well.
Yes.
And so the end of the song, there's a twist, and the song is called Maybe Both, and it starts talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
And maybe Jesus isn't for your political party. Maybe Jesus isn't this specific or this specific.
This and this or this or this. Maybe he's one thing who's complex.
Yeah, maybe he's one Christ and he's pretty complicated, is what it says.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth saying, and it's a good...
Yeah, I think in this day and age, now that he's played the Super Bowl, everyone has an idea, but like, To Pimp a Butterfly, if you couldn't tell by the name being To Pimp a Butterfly, that... That's a very explicit album.
Okay,
disclaimer there.
Good warning.
Yeah, specifically there. Blacker the Berry. Be warned in advance. Yeah, it also reminds me on, I believe it is God by Kendrick Lamar off of the album Damn or Dang.
Whoa, you dang.
Album Dang.
There you go.
Darn. But there's the line he talks about, like
I think I know what you're talking.
It's the get all the religions, line them up in a room,
and put them in one service.
Put them in one
Tell
service.
them that we ain't
nothing, but he's been
perfect. I love that. I love that lyric.
It reminds me a little of that
because it's real.
Yeah, this is an incredible song. Also, is this the song with the God doesn't like the riots and looting?
Yes.
I'm not going to break it down. I will just read it.
It's too much.
I'm talking about Jefferson and Washington were great peace pursuers, but John Brown was a terrorist and evildoer. Oh yes, God bless the American Revolution, but God ain't for all the riots and the looting. There's so much there. We could have like a 20-minute conversation about all of those specific
four
words,
lines.
But I'll leave that there and let you process it. But again, nuance. Like it's a phenomenal album. Okay, back to the bangers. Next song, Excellent. 2017.
Jazz
trap. This is, on a certain level, this is my favorite instrumental on the album. Like, this is my favorite banger.
Yeah. It's a fun song.
Yeah, actually, I take it back. 30 and Up isn't my favorite. This is my favorite fun song.
Okay. I'll stick with 30 and Up. The year for this song, Excellent, is 2017 because it's the future.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
We really are nerding out about this, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome instrumental, and it's a very fun song, very unique, very bombastic, and
I think it's braggadocious as well.
Braggadocious.
That's a word I would use.
As Paul writes in Galatians 6, but far be it from me to boast except in the cross of Lord Jesus Christ.
It's true.
You know? It's braggadocious, but it's not about show baraka.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellence is what Christ demands of us, and he's also gives us his excellence. So
yeah,
we are declared righteous.
We thank God because he be excellent.
Yes.
Everything we do is part of the chorus. Yeah.
Yes. And then after Excellent is Road to Humble. This is one of the best songs.
It's something I'm on the verge of skipping if this comes up on shuffle, and then I'm like, no, I can't skip it.
Yeah,
the instrumental, and we were talking about this earlier. The instrumental is just how would you describe the instrumental?
When I want to listen to Drake, I listen to Drake.
That's not the right word.
No, my thought was Vibes and Stuff by Tribe Called Quest, because it's very like, it's got a weird soothing energy to it. Like, imagine you're in like a very well lit house that's got some warm lamps and like a plant in the back, and there's like a turntable, and you got some like Milt Jackson and John Coltrane on that turntable.
Yeah.
And then Sho Baraka's there rapping about his rap career.
Yeah. Just calmly going through his whole history of how he got to the point of making this particular album.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It almost gives the album significance. Like, this is everything I went through to get to this point and make this really wonderful, like you said, I mean, your favorite Christian rap album.
Yeah.
And this is where it took to get here.
Yeah, my favorite of the very few Christian rap albums that I've listened to.
You like this more than Mansion by NF?
I like this a lot more than Mansion by NF.
That's a hot take.
I'm so sorry about that.
Look at the Spotify numbers. That's a hot take.
Listen, you know who you are. I'm talking to you NF lover. I like this album more than Mansion. I'm sorry.
That's why you tuned into Consecrated Media.
That's why we're here, baby.
For hot takes.
That's right. We got to save this.
Yeah, we need to save this.
Yeah, no, Road to Humble is a fantastic song, and then I am stupid. It didn't even occur to me that Humble is Humble Beast. Road to Humble.
Yes, yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and also should add 1979 is the year for this one, which is the year he was born, because this song is about his journey.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So.
And the song after this, okay, I'm going to keep saying this. I thought the last 3 tracks were incredibly strong, but it's the last, you would probably say the last 6 tracks, but I would say the last 5 tracks are
Here's what I have to say. I think the album is phenomenal.
Okay.
There's not a song I dislike at all.
Okay.
Like, not even remotely. My Hood.
USA.
The storytelling on this song is like taking this very analogy-based approach to addressing the problems present in America and the issues in poverty-run areas, the history of that, and how that's impacted Black America, and very cool song.
The awareness of the song, it's once again just very reminiscent of Kendrick.
Yeah.
Just his awareness and understanding of history in regards to the history of Black Americans.
Yeah.
And everything he's talking about in the song, he just sounds extremely well-informed. Mm-hmm. And the instrumental, once again, is just kind of like Road to Humble, just a very calming, soothing instrumental with really beautiful...
Which is interesting because of the content of the song, for sure.
Yeah, but it makes the medicine easier to swallow, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very charged song lyrically, but it's
easy to listen to, I would say.
Yeah, and this year is 1937 because it's kind of like it starts its story with this town that begins. I would say 1937 because that's the name of the song.
Sure.
But like a lot
Yeah.
of this stuff was happening in the 30s, and it's the development of this. Like Black Americans moving in the 30s and starting these towns or living in these towns, and then them just deteriorating because of a lot of different factors.
I would say it's a song that's probably bigger than we can.
Yeah, no, this one.
Than we are equipped to break down.
This.
I am not. I really do not feel qualified to talk about
this
it.
Specifically, like
it goes through a lot.
Yeah, this requires delicacy, cultural awareness, historical awareness, and there's also so much lyrically that's just excellent that would take a very long time to break down. But yeah, My Hood is it My Hood USA or is it just My Hood?
My Hood USA.
My Hood USA, 1937.
Yep.
Fantastic song. I would argue maybe the best song lyrically overall.
Really?
Like not my favorite verses, but I think as a whole, very very good. Like such good storytelling.
It's very very good.
Yeah,
I agree.
Next 3 songs, like the whole thing.
They are unimpeachable. That is what I'm going to say. The next 3 were
unimpeachable, undeniable,
undeniable,
outstanding. Yes, the next song, Words, which is 2006. My notes for this song were, holy crap.
That's not very consecrated of you, Bradley. Excuse the pun, because the song doesn't deserve it. But there really are kind of no words for this song.
Yeah.
It's something you really just need to sit down and listen to. Let the words sink in.
And the parts that are not word based.
Yeah.
Like that like sonic tapestry at the very beginning of the song is just also really powerful.
It's a little bit it can be a little bit unsettling or unpleasant to listen to, but it's worth sitting through the unpleasantness, knowing the context of the song.
It's an experience.
And I mean, without spoiling what the song is about specifically, it's a song about the experiences that Cho has had as a father.
And the challenges, for sure.
And as a son. Challenges as a father and as a son, and how it impacted him and how it impacted his faith.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely probably the most profound song I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Genuinely, when I think about these words or listen to it, it has a power that is beyond words.
Yeah, I think
I'm curious what you want to say about it.
No, I don't want to ruin words with words.
Yeah.
But there's so many songs that could be my favorite on the album. I think I do have a clear favorite, and we'll get there. This is probably an exceedingly close second. Yeah, anyway, next song, also Fathers. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I know, goodness gracious is fair.
And Words is 2006. Fathers is 2004. I don't know the significance of those years. I'm guessing it's very personal.
Yeah. I'm assuming the years probably relate to his kids.
Yeah.
Or things personally relating to him as a father. Because the song is from the perspective of him as a father to his daughter and to his son. Yeah. Those are the 2 people being addressed in this song.
Yeah, but this is one of the most powerful and just most beautiful songs on the album. He's dropping fantastic advice on this song as well. Like, I was really hit, not that this is something I'm personally addressing in my life very much, but just what he says about, like, to his son about treating women right. Mm-hmm. Just some of the most finely elocuted ideas and advice about men interacting with women and
be happy with who you are alone in the silence. That cuts deep.
Be happy with that, and then it's pray without ceasing but keep your eyes on the system. Very very representative of the album. And then always speak up for the weak until somebody listens. But then the part I was talking about is don't marry her if you don't plan to bury her. If you sweep her off your feet and learn how to carry her.
I was just looking at it. I'm like, that's so good.
No, and the way he says it, just so much passion.
You can feel his love and his sincerity in this song. And I'd say that's especially true of these last 3 songs.
Yeah.
A lot of it, I don't know how impactful it would be if it weren't for his performance.
Oh, absolutely.
You can tell he means every single word he's saying, and it's coming from his heart.
Yeah.
Especially in this song.
This is gorgeous. And
it is.
I think you'd be okay with it if we shared this anecdote, but you said our favorite high school teacher, no shade to our other high school teachers, but Mr. David, big influence for both of us, but you sent this song to him after he became a father, and he said it was like a very good, impactful listen for him.
Yes.
That made me happy to hear. Shout out Mr. David if you're listening.
Also, I want to say the chorus of the song, and it hits at the end.
Let's not spoil it though.
Okay, because there is a little bit of a twist ending, and it sounds a little corny. If we were to say it out loud, it would sound corny, but it doesn't sound corny when you listen to it.
No,
it sounds very heartfelt.
Another comparison to a song from Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On," or another allusion, but on that album there's the song "Save the Children."
Yeah.
And if you read the lyrics of that song about like
it sounds corny on
the
paper.
Babies, and then you hear it and you hear him sing it, you're like, oh my gosh, we gotta save
the babies. We gotta save those babies.
Yeah, this is the good stuff.
And I'm gonna let you introduce the last song because I assume this is your favorite.
Yeah, so. Spoiler alert. "Piano Break" is my favorite song on the album. If I have to choose one, for all too many reasons. This instrumental, incredible.
I agree.
Oh yeah, and this is my favorite year, which is AD 33, which is the year that Christ was crucified, roughly. So that puts the song into perspective. But man, this is the Christian song on the album. Like, it's all Christian, but I mean, this is the one that is about Christ and the lyric of if I'm what's good, I must have missed something, and then if God ain't good, I must have missed something. Just goodness.
Yeah, and I'm glad you feel me with this, because that will never not shake me.
No, that's
like if I'm in the car, I'm listening to some random like rap music or some random pop. I'm listening to 100 Gex or Taylor Swift, and this will come on shuffle, and it will say, "If God ain't good, I must have missed something." And the way he says it, just quietly, "If God ain't good, I must have missed something."
Yeah, like that's
if I'm what's good, I must have missed something. And you're like, immediately smacks you in the face and humbles you.
Yeah.
And just the seriousness and the gravity of the performance, like,
words to live by.
No, seriously. Like, it centers me. This song centers me. Yeah. It means a lot to me.
This song, I was told by Josiah, was like banned from Christian stores.
Not to mess up the tone.
Not to mess up the tone.
And it is a good lyric.
It's a phenomenal lyric.
It's a very, very good lyric.
He's speaking about his life before he knew Christ and his failures. And he says, "I was an insecure boy who just thought he was a genius, but always pissed off because I thought with my penis." And I don't know if I'm going to include this because I don't want to be trite or anything, but that's a really powerful lyric, and it's...
No, I actually agree.
It's so silly, and it represents so many of my issues with... Love you guys to death, but my parents' generation's approach to Christian music and censorship, and why on earth would you censor that?
Like, whole other conversation.
But
I mean, it's clever, but it's also you can hear it and you're like, that's real.
I mean, that's how we talk. Like,
yeah.
I will not.
So you talk. I'm gonna distance myself.
No, I'm not trying to make any jokes or be trite about this. Like, that's sincerely, young men specifically don't need to hear that and joke about it, and that's powerful. Yeah, I love the bars he spits about G.K. Chesterton.
Yeah.
Sinners in the hands of an angry God.
I know, just name dropping all this good stuff.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Success can be a drag. You can ask Tyler Perry.
Yeah. We're laughing too much for this one. Yeah, no, because I genuinely like really love this song. Like, this is a very meaningful song to me.
This is my favorite. Yeah, this is an all-timer.
So near the end, and it gets very serious at the end. So we'll try to be serious.
Yes, mature.
But it starts off, the flow of the song is almost all, you have the chorus and the verses just kind of keep going. Mm-hmm. It feels like he's almost relentless in the way that his flow is during these verses.
But it's still like calming though.
Yeah.
Which is, I love it.
Because he's saying these words with gravity and with seriousness that you really feel. You feel he's being sincere. And then near the end it says, "I'm realizing life is pretty complex," and he starts presenting these things that taught him things, and things that don't make sense, or ways he learned about life. And he says, "Thoughts of abortion taught me sanctity of life. A divorced man and woman taught me how to love my wife. A poor man sat me down and taught me about dignity. A blind man's vision taught me all about imagery." And I'm just like, that's just... If you know the song words, it's almost referencing some of the things that he learned through his experiences with his family.
Yeah,
in words, in those lines. Mm-hmm. And just this being the finale for the album, and just referencing that other really already profound, like, hard-hitting moment, it's just a very good, like, curtains coming down moment.
Yeah.
And of course ending with the "never told a lie, he been good to me." And I'm just like,
Yeah.
It's you just can't you can't listen to it and not be like humbled and like put in your place and like respect God for like providing for you. And we're so petty, like humans are so petty.
Yeah.
Every day, and we get lost in the sauce, and like this is just a great song to put your eyes where they should be.
No, absolutely. It's despite my goofiness, this is an extremely mature song, and it's really
I would say one of the most spiritually mature and songs and otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that is The Narrative by Sho Baraka. A couple things I did want to say. I already mentioned that if you like Lauryn Hill, you probably would enjoy checking this album out. Very, very heavy influence there, and To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah, and again, I just encourage anybody who has very strong opinions about the stuff we've addressed, or just even something more broad like Christian nationalism or the role of America for Christians. It's a very good album to check out, even if it's not something you agree with. It'll give you things to ponder. It's also worth bearing in mind that it's not like this is not gung-ho about any of those things.
I was going to say, I believe it's new. A word we kept using is nuanced.
Yeah.
And I don't believe it's shoving anything down your throat.
No, and there's so much confession and conflict about it too. It's like it's
very personal,
and it's very relatable because of that too. Because it's like we're no authorities on this at all, but like there's good and evil in so many cultural movements and Christians and non-Christians alike. It's just I love the way he approaches all of it. Bottom line is you either live by Christ or you don't. And I love this final song because of that. And the fact that it's so cool in naming the song Piano Break 33 AD.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, before we head out, if you are listening to this episode and you are not a fan of rap music, you like Christian music, you don't like rap.
Which if you made it this far, congratulations.
That's a little wild.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, though.
Yeah, no, I love all you listeners out there.
But, of course, I mean, you've heard us gush about this album for a long time. Mm-hmm. You should definitely give it a listen. With some of this music, if you do like funky stuff, funkier music, or you like jazz at all, I think you can get behind this music and enjoy it. And everything just comes across as so sincere. A lot of moments are really fun. A lot of moments are really serious. If you are not a fan of modern Christian rap that you have heard, I would highly, highly recommend you check this out. I think it is leagues ahead of the majority of Christian rap music that is either on the radio or the stuff that you're hearing on playlists on Spotify or whatever's being recommended to you. This goes a lot deeper, and I think musically speaking, it's a lot more interesting.
100%.
And
check out Mac Music Review for more content about this sphere of music.
Yes,
of course.
I've reviewed this album on my channel.
Yeah,
I've reviewed a lot of Lecrae. I've reviewed so much Christian hip hop, and a lot of it sounds corny.
Oh yeah,
and that's okay.
Yes,
because some of it is good.
Yes,
so it's okay.
But I will say
this is not corny though.
Listen, I gotta say, there's rap that is like braggadocious, and that's about sex and drugs and is not good for the soul, but there's also rap that is really powerful and can be life-changing for the better. And I would just say Christian rap should not be surpassed by the rap that is incredibly produced, incredibly creative, that is all about doing bad things to women and whatnot. So yeah. Not that this album is explicit at all, though. This is pretty much clean. I think he says "damn" once.
I was going to mention that because when you said that, and I believe that was also a source of controversy. This album, I don't know if we already said this. I believe we did, but the album was removed from Christian bookstores.
Yeah,
because
oh my gosh.
Because if there's anything controversial, you have to, or if there's any bad language that's used, take it down. You don't want Christians to hear that.
Yeah.
Which is missing the forest for the trees, or whatever that phrase goes. I think it's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
It is. I think a lot of Christians have examining to do, but also don't surround yourself with bad things. Not saying that at all, but nuance. Yeah. And I could talk about that for a very long time, but I will spare you. Please listen to The Narrative by Sho Baraka. I think there's something here for everyone.
I fully believe that. I think it's fun, and it's meaningful, and it's serious, and it's insightful.
It is very compelling, but not exploitatively compelling. It is.
It's all of the adjectives that I can think of.
Yeah, except for bad.
Bradley, I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Would you consider this consecrated media?
I would 100% consider this consecrated media.
I would dare say that Piano Break is the most consecrated song. I don't know if that'd be hard to like scientifically
most consecrated rap song that I've heard, probably.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more.
Yeah. I can't either.
No, this is peak. This could very well be my favorite album we've talked about on this podcast. I love John Guerra's Jesus. That's really high up there, but
okay.
But that is much more recent. I haven't had the time with it that I've had with this.
Yeah.
This is the good stuff, good soup. So I will just say very briefly, since we've about covered the album as much as we ought, some farewell words for the podcast. This has been a really beautiful experience for me. I've learned a lot about friends of mine and myself and my ability to create things and how powerful music can be in glorifying God. I wish I could keep this going longer. I wish I had the time and effort to put into it to keep it going longer, I should say, but it's just, I'm very proud of what it's been. I'm very grateful for what it's been. I haven't had any conversations or listened to any music that I haven't walked away from feeling challenged or edified by, and that's really something I can't say about many of my projects. So I'm very grateful for this. I hope that all you listeners have been as well. Maybe one day it comes back. We shall see. Maybe I do a Christmas episode about Kirk Franklin and the family's Christmas.
You can talk about Charlie Brown Christmas.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
That's a very profound piece of That is consecrated as all get out.
Consecrated as all get out.
It does not get more consecrated than the Charlie Brown Christmas.
That's so true, and also Charlie Brown Christmas, the movie and the album.
Oh, the music is gorgeous.
Oh my goodness, that is the best mixed album ever. Oh my goodness.
We need to stop.
All right, yeah, no.
I mean, I think that's really amazing. Because I think all the people that have been listening to this podcast have gotten a lot out of it, especially if they've gotten all the way here and listened to it.
All my friends who have been listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, but seriously.
I was going to say, I mean, hearing that you have personally got stuff out of this, like spiritually speaking.
I have grown from this.
Yeah, and discovering new artists that have just been recommended to you by people you're close to, or by Chase Tremaine from the Jesus Freak podcast, or name dropping, but like Benjamin Daniel, a really well acclaimed Christian artist, John Guerra, making music and talking about it with you on the podcast. It really has been pretty incredible just to watch, and as your friend, it's been incredible to watch. Well, and I have felt pride through it, through being I was involved with this.
You've been a part loosely. Of it since day one.
I know.
I mean, yeah, I wanted to start and end it with you, so I really appreciate that.
But I'm happy to see that you are, you personally gained something from this. It wasn't just fulfilling creatively, but it was deeper than that, it sounds like.
It's been good. And I'm glad I did it while I was young, before I became a crazy Hollywood director or something. Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Please, if you feel so inclined at this point, leave a rating and review of the podcast, because, you'll be leaving a review of a finished product at this point, so I would appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your lives.
And thank you for listening to the Consecrated Media Podcast.
Yes. Good evening. Oh, and God bless.